Hello everybody and welcome back to ETS Reacts, and today we're back with Classroom of the Elite Episode 6, A Tumultuous Scramble. And if it is your first time watching one of my Classroom of the Elite reactions, I am a huge light novel reader of Classroom of the Elite, so my reactions are definitely going to be different, as they're going to be more of maybe missing context that the anime adaptation just didn't have time to put in, or they just straight cut out. So I'm really interested with this episode of how much it covers the rest of Volume 2, because chapter-wise, they covered about half of the chapters in Volume 2 in the last episode. So do they go to the end of this episode, which I think they could do if they cut it correctly and have very concise conversations throughout the rest of this volume, because it has some really intriguing, interesting, deep dives into the first years and more of their personalities, as well as some of our other year 2 classmates. So I really love volume 2. It's slice of lifey, but I know some anime onlys are kind of like, this is boring, just make it 2 episodes, like cut the content. And I'm not like that. Obviously, as a light novel reader, I want this to be 3 episodes. I don't know exactly where they would end it if it's 3 episodes with this episode, so I'm excited to see how they adapted it, where they choose to end this episode. So let's get it. So before we even jump into the episode here, they give out the rules of the exam, which I'll get into, and I'll try to dummy it down, explain as best as possible, because I'm sure some anime only people out there are like, oh my god, information overload at the start of almost every exam. So I'll try to explain it to the best of my abilities here. So this is the Deserted Island Survival exam. We got another one. I'm so pumped. This one is going to be amazing. Has a bunch of hype, crazy stuff that goes on within it. I personally think it's way more interesting than the year 1 Deserted Island exam, and I thought that exam was really well done, and it was exciting in its own way. So let's get into the rules here. Days: July 19th, set out. July 20th through August 3rd, special test. August 4th through the 10th, cruise, free time. And then August 11th, return, activity ends. Cards: all students will receive one of the following 8 kinds of cards at random. Cards can only be traded to students of the same year in different classes. So you can't trade a card to somebody else in your class. So no trade backs allowed. Basic cards: lead off. Holder may use 50% more points at the start of the test. So you're given a certain amount of points at the start of the test to buy supplies. And you, with this card, you will get 50% more points at the start of the test. Supplement: doubles private points earned by the holder. Halves the private point penalties inflicted on the holder. Bandwagon: holder designates a group at the start of the test. Half of the private point rewards earned by that group. ... Insurance: gives holder a single day to recover in case of ill health that would otherwise force a dropout. Special cards: reinforcement: a holder can exist as the 7th person in a group. Male to female ratio applies still probably. Negate: holder pays no private points when they pay a penalty. Trial: holder may increase class points awarded by 50%, however. So to me, the first thing that jumps off here is a lot of information, a lot of stuff. Isn't really that important overall, these cards. But I will say they changed the name of it, because I think the trial one is the Trials and Tribulations. So they shortened the name down, and I don't know if that's just the subtitles. Can't wait. It'll be awesome. The scale is way different. Will be longer, and the island will be bigger as well. I really love this island. It's just way bigger. A lot more action goes on in it, and I really like the grids that they do in the light novel that like shows each area, and more about that will be explained in the future, I hope. 今日この場では全てのルールを明らかにできないが、次の特別試験では最大6人までの大グループを組み協力。Large groups up to 6. The large groups will be based on small groups. Ooh, I can see how some anime only people are gonna be like, oh my god, what is happening? This is like JJK season 3. What was that, episode 3, where it was just like a straight reading episode? which is just kind of what you get with when they explain exams in Classroom of the Elite. The class points earned by the top 3 groups will be transferred from the years of the bottom 3 groups. Class points will be split equally between group regardless of the number of members. Even reading this, I'm like, what? And I read the light novel. I don't know if it's just the translations of the subtitles that make it hard to understand, but to break it down, and what I think is the easiest way is that the top 3 groups get the points from the bottom 3 groups. And then I think really the big one is the class points. So if you come in first, let's say in this exam, you win 100 class points. And since you can be with different classes, let's say our group is Ayanokoji, Ichinose, Sakinagi, and that's 100 points. So they go 33 points to class 2A, 33 points to class 2C, and 33 points to class 2D. So what you really have to understand here is, do I want to create inter year 2 group and like kind of split class points between other classes, or do I just make a class 2D group and we try to take all those 100 points? So that's kind of the mental games that you have to jump through here when getting your group together. Rules. Group composition, groups of up to 3 people, then there's an asterisk that says up to 4 for the first years. So the first years get a little advantage here of 4 people, and it's the advantage because let's say you're in a group of 3, and let's say 2 people are really good at academics and one's really high socially. Well, then you're missing out on your physical ability, right? And maybe with 4 people, you're able to have all 4 of the abilities in OAA that's at a high level to be more of a round completed group that you can compete with year 2 and year 3 who already have experience of island exams. So that's why they're doing the 4 groups for the first years. Classes and members, small groups must be of students from the same year but not necessarily the same class. I talked about that earlier. Male-female ratio, if the group is mixed gendered, at least 2/3 of the groups must be girls. So that's kind of one where, at least for me, even in the light novel, I kind of like got lost in the sauce on that, and I was just like, the group formations aren't like overly important. It's just like once you get in it, you need to kind of know who's in the what groups. It's not really important for like pairing up per se. They do a good job explaining that. Then large group formations, like what we talked about, 3 groups then into 6. After the special test begins, large groups up to 6 people can be formed. Large group conditions. Large group must be consisting of 4 or more people and must contain at least 50% girls. So if you have a group of 3, right, they're already 2 and 3, but you can also do 3 guys and 3 girls. So your group can be 100% female or male, and when you join together, you're at the 50% benchmark. Dropout and penalties. If all members of a group are unable to continue to test and drop out, they will fail the test and receive a penalty, which is, you guessed it, expulsion. Good work. Hopefully that's the end of reading today. Koenji. Gotta love him.
話とは何だ、高円寺。
どうにもティーチャーからは肝心の説明がなかったと思う。
I always thought this is funny because there's no difference in the light novel, but Chabashiro clearly said, I'm not explaining all of the rules at this point, and Koenji goes like, excuse me, teacher, but you have neglected a crucial point here. And I'm like, well, she said she's not explaining all of it.
一人で特別試験を迎えた生徒が当日体調不良だった場合、結果はどうなるのかね。
くだらない話だな。お前は昨年病欠でリタイアした。だが今年は特殊な措置はなく、600万ポイントを支払うペナルティが課せられる。
So what she's saying there is if Koenji goes and does this island exam on his own and he just dips in like year 1 and just goes back to the boat because he's sick, then he has to pay 6 million private points to bail out from being expelled, which I don't believe Koenji has. And so that's also a thing that they didn't really explain, but then they just tried to explain there, is that if you're in a group of 6, then you need 1 million private points each to save you from expulsion.
お前の手持ちではどうにもできない。どうする？自由を貫き通して大変。
Prioritize your freedom or be expelled.
さてどうだろうね。
Yes, we will. We will find out.
構わないよ、
You're
ティーチャー。
free to go now, teacher. That's just like one of the little things that the anime does where you're just like, oh, I'm so glad it gets gets an adaptation because we get to see Koenji go like, after you, Chabashira sensei.
ところで何か私に言おうかい？綾野。
That's crazy that he just calls out Ayano Koji like he knew Ayano Koji was always stalking him. Which in the light novel, that's not the case. It's Ayano Koji sees Koenji shoot up out of his chair quick. And Koenji's kind of a very lackadaisical dude. Like, he does stuff on his time, you know, does it slowly. And when Ayano Koji sees that difference, he's like, I wonder what's going on with him. And he tails him. And so after that talk with Chabashira, Koenji said, whoever is following me, if you want to show yourself or not, go ahead. It's up to you. And Koji basically goes like, I'll show myself. And then I think this is line for line what Koenji says in the light novel.
君は何かを隠れ蓑にするのが得意なようだ。
This is part of the stuff that I don't understand at Classroom Elite. Like, why are they having a conversation and we're staring at the stairwell? It makes no sense. Can we just, like, watch them have a conversation and, like, talk with their
と
mouth?
ころで何か私に言おうかい？
I'm a Koji boy.
君は何かを隠れ蓑にするのが得意なようだね。
Hiding things because he was
綾
hiding.
野浩二ボーイからはそのどちらも見えてこない。私はそのような人間の言葉を信用して
I don't think you trust anyone,
お
Koenji.
前が誰かを信じるようなタイプには見えないけどな。
確かに。
で、今度の試験ではどう立ち回るつもりだ？
そうだね。ものは相談なのだが、私を君のグループに入れてはもらえないかね。
悪いが断る。開幕で離脱が確定している人間を囲い込むほど余裕はない。
So what Koji's saying there is if Koenji joined Ayano Koji's group, well then Koenji would just repeat what he did in the year 1 island exam, right? He would just drop out and then it would leave Koji to his own devices for 14 days on that island. But what happens this time is if Koji then gets injured or hurt or gets dropped out of this island exam, well then Koenji gets expelled too. The both of them are goners if they don't have the money to save them, right? So Koenji would be leaving his fate in Koji's hands, which he just said he doesn't trust anybody.
そうか、それなら仕方ないな。
その考えでいいのか？
どう乗り切るのか、本番までにじっくり考えて。
How to surmount this? How can I do nothing in this
今
exam?
回特に重要なのは
These look like the same
誰とでも
rules.
組んでいいってことだね。
I've already read
同
enough.
学年のよりすぐりの人
This is a very interesting combination. They're all like really good at something different. I think they do like a really good job at the island exam if you could take 4 people. Because, right, you have Pseudo, physical ability, Yukimu, really good intelligence, Horikita has really good intelligence and physical ability, and then you have the social glue of the group, Harada. So who do we think from Class D would be the best groups? Like, if you could form your perfect group from Class 2D, who would it be? I think mine would be Ayano Koji, obviously. And then I think you'd go Suzune, and you need another girl. Honestly, I think I'd go Matsushita. Like, I have a little soft spot for Matsushita because I think she's a really great character of her smarts and how she figured out Koji without really anyone ever like talking about him all that much. And I also like that she's kind of like a female Koji if she really hides her true talent and it kind of semi looks down on all of her friends. So I think they might be the best group.
リスクも分散できるけど
But if you're going for like win first place, you definitely go Koji, Koenji, Harada? I mean, you're between Pseudo and Harada, but I think Harada would like maybe keep the 2 of them together better. Like those 3, they might just go the whole time.
同じクラスで組めばハイリスクでもポイントを独占できて差を詰めるチャンスということね。
だけど、もしよそのクラスが手を取り合ったら？
坂柳さん
That line didn't make any sense, Harada. Why would all the other classes work to keep class 2D down? That don't make no sense.
いや龍炎君一ノ瀬さんはどう出るかしら。
独走状態の A クラスは
クラスポイントさえ縮められなければ問題ないはずだよ。
じゃあ3クラスで同盟組むってのは B クラスから D クラスで協力し合って差を詰めるのもありだよな。
Right, like what I talked about earlier with forming the groups. Like if you did a B, C, and D class to catch up to A, if that 100 point is the winner, right, and they get 33, 33, 33, well, then they're catching up. It's just in a smaller dose. So you got to weigh, do we just catch up? Do we narrow down the gap with Class A with our probably most likely chance to win? Or do we take a gamble and we make a whole Class 2D group and try to get that 100 points all for us, for ourselves?
は味方というわけね。悪くないわ。
だけど僕たちから A クラスを孤立させる提案をすれば坂柳さんは容赦しないと思う。別のクラスから似たような提案があると助かるんだけどね。
And that's the other thing with this BCD is that Ryuen, you know him, he would never initiate something like this on his own. Then you also have a slightly less stubborn Horikita who wouldn't initiate just because she doesn't want to, she honestly doesn't want to put like favoritism, I think, like of other classes or try to rile anyone up to attack 2D. So Ichinose is the only one who's going to do this.
早速動き始めたようね。みんなには不用意にグループを組まないよう指示を出したわ。
一ノ瀬から連絡は学年で協力しようって案が出てきても不思議じゃないが。
今のところないわ。もし2年全体でまとまるつもりなら、この段階で何かしらの意思疎通を図っているはずよ。
And she's not doing it.
今度の無人島試験、あなたが単独で1位を獲得してもらえないかしら。
Is it possible?
じゃあ言うなよ。
Of
無
course.
人島の特別試験ってことしか分かってない状況だぞ。
Does Koji want it to happen is more of the real question.
あなたならグループも不要なんじゃないかと思ったの。
Might not even need a group.
私たちは
That'd
ク
be
ラスが
crazy.
確定する。そうなれば、退学を避けるためのグループ編成を中心に組み立てられるのだけれど。
下位5グループに入った生徒は退学のペナルティだからな。全員が救済のポイントを払えるわけじゃない。
Yeah.
試験が始まってからの貸し借りはできないから、不安のある生徒にはできる限りポイントを集めておきたいところだけど、ポイントを貸した生徒がペナルティを受ければ出られないわ。
Right, so what she's saying there is, do you create these like super strong groups within Class 2D that go for the win, or do you create well-rounded groups in Class 2D to save everyone from expulsion? Or do you make these like groups that go for the top and then lend all of your private points down to the bottom groups to make sure that they can all be safe from expulsion? And to me, if you don't have enough points to do that, but you know who your least capable students are in OAA, and maybe you hit the bottom 5 of them, if you can only get 5 of them, I think that's what my strategy would be.
また相談させてもらえるかしら。
できる範囲ならな。
それで十分よ。ありがとう。
But then imagine, like, you yourself, you give your points away to somebody else, and then all of a sudden you think your group's really strong, and someone gets injured in your group, and then you only have 2 people, and you can't carry the weight, and then all of a sudden you're on the chopping block, and you're like, holy cow, I gave my points up, and now I'm going to get expelled? Like, that would suck. Oh! Getting gripped down by Albert!
珍しい組み合わせだな。嫌な予感
Is it they're in the same class?
帰ってもいいか。
I have a bad feeling about this.
石崎。
携帯に反応ないから迎えに来たぜ。ちょっと面貸してくれよ。
Oh, we got the finger.
というのは
俺でもアルベルトでもシーナでも、各俺たち B クラスの誰かと組んでくれってことだよ。
つまり B クラスの中に俺が入ると。
Yup.
それ、俺にメリットはあるのか。
お前だけに損させるわけないだろ。俺たちが A クラスに上がったら、綾野浩二に2000万ポイントを渡してクラスに
Right, like in Ishizaki's head, it's, oh, we're giving you 20 million points. But in reality, you're not. You're just giving him a ticket to your class. That's not giving him the free will of 20 million points. Because then he could just go to the class that's an A.
俺を誘うと決めたのは龍炎なのか、石崎の独断なのか。
Ayanokoji only gets his feelings going if it's about
龍炎
Ryuen.
にバレたらどうなるかは考えたのか。
考えてね。つか考えられねえ。それも覚悟のうちだ。
特別試験の肝は 2年生のクラスポイントを取られないようにすること、上位を狙うために必要不可欠なのが綾野浩二君です。
At least everyone can understand that everybody needs Koji to get top 3.
誘ってくれたことに悪い気はしないが、今の段階じゃイエスとは言えないな。
なんでだよ。
やはり提示する条件が弱いと思います。
I don't know how there's better
もし無
conditions
人島サバイバルで上位を狙うなら、
unless you just throw money at them.
金田君、綾野浩二君の3名が
Yeah, if you were trying to go Class B heavy group with Koji, it would definitely be Ryu and Kaneda, right? And if you don't know who Kaneda is, he's a very like smart, has a high academic rating, and he's kind of like the strategist of Class 2B when Ryuin isn't at the forefront of it, because he's smarter than Ryuin
欠
academic-wise.
かせない存在です。
無茶言うなよ。俺の作戦に龍炎さんが乗ってくれると思うか？
No.
二つ返事とはいかないと思います。今日のところは綾野浩二君に私たちの思いを伝える場にできたということで満足しておくべきです。
わかったよ。
期待に添えるかはわからないが。
I think that scene is like the perfect explanation scene for what I was talking about with like 2 to 3 episodes for this volume 2. Because to me, all this really breaks down to the director's point is this episode's going to be a lot about which group is Ayano Koji going to get with, kind of all the options of people that came to him. Because as a light novel reader, I think they cut the content that I found most funny in kind of the slice of life that you really enjoy about Classroom of the Elite, as well as pushing along the main point of what groups Ayano Koji going to join. The first thing that they cut was that when he got pinned up by Albert, he was like, oh, am I getting robbed? Like, are they trying to take my money? Like, what's going on here? And he told him that as a joke, and then they're like, let's take it back to our room. And they carried Koji. Like, Albert literally carried Koji to the room, like walking back to the dorm. He was carrying Koji, and he was like, I'm actually getting kidnapped. Like, they are kidnapping me. And I thought that was funny. And then as well as it got recommended that they go to Ishizaki's room. And he's like, no, my room's so dirty. Look, we're not going there. And then he was like, no, it's like full of tissues and stuff, you know? And if you know about the tissues. And I just thought that was another funny, kind of interesting thing into Ishizaki. And then when Koji was in there with Albert and Ishizaki and Hiyori, like the whole time Koji was like half listening. He was just like, does Albert speak Japanese? He's like, I've only ever heard him speak English. He's like, how does he get through class? Like, what do you, like the whole time Koji's just like daydreaming about Albert, which I think is hilarious. Ike!
あれだ。誰と組むとかもう決まったのかよ。
別にまだだけど、それがどうかした？
別にどうもしねえよ。なんとなく聞いてみただけだし。
And if you're wondering why we're getting into Ike and Shinohara as anime onlys out there, I thought the same thing the first time I read the light novel. I was like, why are we having a conversation with just Ike and Shinohara right now?
あんたの方はどうせ須藤君や本藤君でしょ。
悪いかよ。
It's actually a pretty good group, Hondo, Pseudo, and Ike, because you have the physical strength of Pseudo, and then if you remember from year 1, Ike has really great outdoorsman camping skills, so Ike is kind of like a hot commodity in this exam.
楽しくやれるだろうしな。けど男はまあほっといてもなんとかなるっつうか。俺は必要とされるところに手を貸すべきって。
Oh, you'll be happy to lend her a hand, huh?
困るようなら俺がそのお前とグループを組んでやってもいい。
Oh, twist my arm, I'd be willing to group with you.
私と同じグループになりたいわけ？
変な勘違いすんなよ。
Ah, the slice of life
お前って
music.
退学になりそうな危なっかしいやつじゃん。だから心優しい俺が犠牲になって守っ。
Just what a girl wants to hear. As an expression of my kindness, I'm willing to take a hit and keep you safe. And she knows, we're like, what do you think of me? You think I'm helpless?
やるって言ってんだよ。
はあ？何が犠牲よ。頼んでないし。おはよう、池くん。
Ah, Kushida.
何今超暇してたとこ。
わ、C クラスの小橋さんが池くんをグループに。
Oh, another girl wants Ike. I told you he's a hot commodity in this exam.
マジで
Ike's got girls on girls now.
でも今篠原さんと話してたみたいだけど大丈夫？
全然いいの。話しかけられて迷惑してたところだし、連れてっちゃって。
こっちが迷惑してたっての。さあ、行こう行こう。やっぱり。
Ah, poor Shinohara, but you did it to yourself saying you wanted him to go. He's too dumb to figure it out. Satsuki. Oh, we're crying. Dang, Kamiya looks like a freaking angel how much he's glowing.
小宮君。
綾小路君、あなたも災難ね。試
You're
練
in
の
deep
カードを引
trouble.
き当てるなんて。
Oh.
生徒に配布される特殊な効果を持つ8種のカード。
個人で獲得した。
So the trial card, you may increase your class points awarded in the special exam by 50%. However, if you're not in the top 30% of groups, your group will receive a penalty. The extra points will be provided by the school. Which I think Goji could get in the top 30 for his group if he really wanted to. It's just if he wants to or
プラス
not.
ポイントを 1.5 倍にする代わりに
And this is a very good card. Like if you knew you were a top 10 group,
トレードしてくれる人
you
は
would want
ま
this
ずい
card
ないですよ
bad.
ね。こうなった以上、
Get 50% more class
上
points.
位に入るしかないわ。
悪いが引き取り手が見つかったら譲渡するかもしれないぞ。
何を選択するかはあなたの
So
自
you
由。
can sell it or you can keep it. And so if Koji basically is like, I don't really care about this exam, I'll just sell it for a card that's not worth much and stock up on private points.
見つかればいいけど、一応言っておくと、嫌味を込めて言ってい
Being
る。
sarcastic, I
何
kind
を
of
選
forgot
択
about
するか
this.
はあなたの自由よ。引き取り手が簡単に見つかる。
Find someone who wants it in the first place. I was being sarcastic. Everyone's like, Suzune, no one's laughing. No one found it funny. You were just straight faced telling the truth.
だろうな。
あなたにいじめられることが多いから。
Punishment.
その仕返しよ。
It is punishment. Just listen to you trying to tell jokes.
いじめたつもりはないけどな。
は？お前、組む相手を見つけた？
そうよ。悪い？
だってついさっき俺が誘ってやったばかりじゃん。
Just the other day, it was the same day. So I don't know if that's like a mistranslation on the subtitle wise, but it's the same day on the walk to school when Kamiya runs into her, and then when Ike gets back to the class after seeing this Class C girl, that, you know, Shinohara has already kind of said that she was going to pair up with somebody.
禁止も何もまだ正式に確定。
My favorite is Harada's face in the back here. Just Harada's like, no, please, not someone having a fight in our class. Like, how do I solve it? And his face like captures it perfectly.
まあ今日確定するつもりだけど。
グループ誰と組むことにしたんだよ。
B クラスの小
小
宮
宮。
君よ。
はあ、小宮ってあの
That
バスケットの
playboy?
やつかよ。
That guy?
別に
I'll
キャ
kill
ラないし
him.
放課後にカフェで打ち合わせするんだから。
Poor Ike.
いやよかったよグループ組んでくれて。
こっちこそありがとう。
Oh, there's Kamiya in the background.
最悪の展開にはならない感じだけど、かなり落ち込んでそうだね。
So we have Ike stalking Komiya in Kinoshita, and then Goji and Hirata stalking Ike. I just think it's a whole chain of stalking.
池がポテンシャルを発揮できない事態は避けたい。
どうするべきかな。
ひとまず暴走して突っ込む気配がないならこの場は様子見でいいんじゃないか。俺は小宮がどういうつもりで篠原を誘ったのか探ってみるつもりだ。
僕は池君が篠原さんと組めなかった時に。
Well, we know who Ike is going to partner up with. They already said his group, Hondo and
誰と
Sudo.
組むのか考えておくよ。
頼んだ。
We have stalking going on, stalking going on, stalking going on, stalking. It's just a big chain.
驚いてないね。
Ah,
最初からつけてることに気づいてた？
like I was talking about earlier, Matsushita. She's one of my favorite girls. I think it goes. If you're gonna go top 3 Classroom of the Elite girls, what list are you guys going with? Drop it below in the comments. I think my personal favorite is you gotta get Suzune at 1. God, it's a tough list. Ichika 2 and 3 is Matsushita. Honorable mention to Honami, Kushida. Any other girls I'm really missing? I'm not a huge Nanase person, personally. Any other ones? There's some like year 3 characters that I'm interested in, but I won't even get into those all that much since they're kind of still new. But those 3 I think are my top 3.
驚きが顔に出てないだけだ。
平田君とはどんな話をしてたの？
Ike.
君のこと？無人島試験に関して？
That's like that. She knows what's
それが
up.
松下に関係あるのか？
警戒しないで。今日は早い段階で伝えておくことがあったから
ASAP
接触しただけ。試練のカードを扱うのが難しい、ね。
Oh, it is a tough one.
もし困ってるなら、綾野浩二君をフォローしてあげたいなって。
俺とグループを組むことが一番生き残る確率が高いと判断したか？
バレた？
So Matsushita there was basically just trying to get in his group, and Koji was like, just cut the crap, cut the roundabout here, just tell me what you want, which is getting into my group, because Matsushita thinks her best chances of survival and not getting eliminated and getting more private points is to team up with Koji. So you just see all these people who are starting to learn more and more about Koji's abilities. They're all trying to pair up with him. Yeah, she had to put her stake in. There's like 20 stakes coming in now.
月内にグループを決めることはしない。他のクラスの出方も伺いたいしな。
わかった。ここじゃいい返事はもらえそうにないね。じゃあ考えといて。これ。
More contact information for Koji, and it's always on some pretty pink slip of paper. Isn't that how Horikita gave her information to Koji too in episode 2? It was like a pretty piece of pink paper. All the girls got it stocked. Jenny! Bye bye, Matsushita. And hello, Ishizaki. Two complete contrasts. I don't know if I'd go to Ishizaki for much advice. We're getting the animation of Nishino. Nishino's a pretty crucial character in Ryuen's class, so I'm excited to see what she's about. Sometimes I get confused with her and Kamaro. Am I the only one who gets that confused? Well, to be fair, I think anyone who's close with Ishizaki, you would think weird pairing. That's why no one likes you. Just saying it straight to her face.
それよりなんでこそこそ合ってるのか興味あるんだけど。
小宮のことで少し話を聞かせてほしくてな。
小宮君？
うちのクラスの篠原とグループを組むと聞いたんだが、小宮がどんな人間か知っておきたい。
あいつは普通にいいやつだぜ。体力もあるしよ。
二人は付き合って。
Are they going out? Straight to the point.
どうなんだろうな。
Yeah, Ishizaki's a bad person to ask that too. Just like what I was going back to with that Albert Ishizaki Hiyori interaction. Like you're asking the dude who was like, oh, my room's so dirty, I got tissues everywhere. Yeah, I don't know if he knows much about love. Yeah, you're asking a loner. Komiya has a little crush on Shinohara.
マジで？ああ、でも他のクラスに好きな子がいるって言ってたかもな。
うちのクラスの池が篠原のこと
を。Oh, we're coming out with it. Ike has a crush on Shinohara.
恋愛ってのは他人が口を挟むことじゃないんじゃねえの？
本来ならそうだ。けどうちのクラスにとっては無視できない。
Right, like. If Ike is gonna be down and out and it's this whole like, oh, because I have a crush on her or whatever, like the island exam isn't time to go out and play patty cake and tiddlywinks or whatever it is out there with your love. Like it's some frolicking on the beach. Like you could get expelled, you could tear your class down. Like this isn't time to go all out on love.
だからって目の前で困ってる綾小路を放っておけるかよ。それで
And I think this scene is, as a light novel reader, is stuff that I really love what this year's adaptation is doing with this flag scene and this scene. Like you're getting more background into Ishizaki's character of how he's this musclehead who's not very smart, but he has this like pure heart of gold that wants to help everybody that you wouldn't know about in past seasons. I mean, we got it a little bit in season 3, but now we're just like continuing to build off of it to learn more about these characters, because I think back to like Katsuragi and Hiyori. I think a lot of anime onlys don't really know all too much about them. They kind of just see Hiyori as like the library girl and Katsuragi as the bald guy. So I think just more background and stuff that they're doing like this with the anime adaptation is really cool, and it's why I'd rather see this go 3 episodes, which I mean at this point it is. There's no way they're doing 2 episodes with the amount of time we have left. So that really makes me excited, but then I can go on the other side and I can see how some anime only people are like, snooze. But to me, this is definitely not a snooze. This is how I want Classroom of the Elite animated. Ayana Koji and Horikita are going to be the only ones eating in this dining hall. Komiya wants to tell Shinohara how he feels while they're on the island. Can you imagine Ike's reaction on the deserted island if he finds out the girl he likes now officially got a proposal on the island? Like it's some sunny, like, will you marry me on the beach? Like, I think that would hurt somebody during a pressured exam.
どうかな。池が篠原たちに気を取られて足を引っ張ることも考えられる。
恋に振り回されて退学の恐れもあると。
Crazier things have happened in this anime.
だとしたらとても愚かなことだわ。
Yeah, 2 people who really understand love, huh?
いっそ池君に告白でもさせたら。白黒つけた方が試験に集中できる。
We're talking about Ike here, though.
いろいろ得意なことが多いあなたも恋愛方面に関しては全くダメみたいね。
勉強中だ。
This is one of my favorite lines of Volume 2 is Koji's like, when Horikita says that, he's like, well, I'm actually studying that field very hard right now. Like he still thinks of Kei as some textbook. He's like, I'm studying it hard right now.
とりあえず池君と篠原さんが組めるように誘導していけばいいのね。
Please.
残念だけどもう手遅れみたいよ。
There's no way they just animated it like that. That is crazy. The theatrical drama of, oh no, oh, like come on, that's too funny. She's like, Ike's like, no, how could she bail me for this hot athlete guy? Oh my god, they're going hardcore. The sad guitar, acoustic guitar. Oh, this is mind-blowing. Komiya, Kinoshita, and Shinohara. I don't know who this Kinoshita is. I don't really remember. Oh, Ike, no! Oh my god, they went hardcore. Oh, we're just coming out with it. First, by himself will gain 300 class points. What do we think? We think Koji's gonna get first? He might.
私、清高と組みたかった。
What is Kei? Still boils down to what she truly is. She just likes leeching off other people. She hasn't changed. Right? Private points. Private point.
6人グループを組めても退学を回避するには1人100万ポイントもいるんでしょ。
Yep.
私そんなに持ってない。
I don't think many people have a million.
24万ポイント。彼でも最近は結構
That is pretty good.
なんだから。
不足金が76万か。俺の手持ち25万を全部渡しても50万以上足らない計算だ。
K.
金は俺が用意する。
That was kind of weird when they just zoomed in on his face and he was like, "Okay, I'll give you that money." Really, there's only been a few cuts animation-wise that I wasn't overall happy with, and it's kind of that one was a little strange. And then the stairwell when like your 2 like greatest characters in Classroom of the Elite, Koenji and Ayano Koji are having a conversation, and we're looking at the stairwell. Like, what are we doing? You don't see them interact all that much. Arigato.
俺を退学させる特別試験の期限は2学期開始まで。
Yep.
おそらく次の試験が俺と月城の最終決戦かもしれない。
Yes.
グル
It's
ー
gonna
プ
be
を組ん
peak.
で俺の事情に巻き込めばただでは済まないだろう。
Right, so that's why he doesn't want to group up with Kei, because he doesn't know what Tsukishiro is going to try to pull. So he doesn't want to drag Kei into this mess. That's why he doesn't tell her anything. At least that's what we think.
それで私に話って何かな。
率直に申し上げて、
I'll be blunt.
一ノ瀬さんたち C クラスは A クラスはおろか B クラスへの再浮上も危ういと感じております。
That is very blunt and to the point.
本当に率直だね。
厳しい言葉を続けて恐縮ですが、一ノ瀬さんのクラスが D クラスに転落するのは時間の問題だと私は考えています。
Sakinagi's done her analysis here, and she's gone, Ryuen, Suzune, Ayano Koji, and then Ichinose. Ichinose seems the worst out of those
今
groups.
そういう評価を受けても仕方ないと思ってる。でも
努力と友情で何とかしてみせる
Abstract.
と抽象的なことでもおっしゃいます。
We'll fight our way through friendship and
そ
effort.
んなことでは到底勝つことは不可能でしょう。一ノ瀬さんのクラスには成長
No growth. That's tough.
それはそんなことないよ。みんなちゃんと成長してる。
OAA を見れば一目瞭然。
Dang, it is kind of clear as
4クラス
day,
で一番
though.
低い伸びだったのは紛れもなく一ノ瀬さんのクラスです。
Well, that's
あなたは劣勢
1,000%
な環
true.
境ではその実力をまるで発揮できない。龍炎君や私は劣勢な環境でも牙を剥きますよ。
Right, and it goes back to the point I made last episode with the individualism that Koji points out in the light novel of everything's like the group herd mentality of we all do the same thing. And when you don't have individuals that want to go down different paths to like make themselves more knowledgeable, then or to like think about it a different way, well then you kind of hold your class at like a same level, or like you stagnate a little bit.
今の一ノ瀬さんには勝ち目は一切ない。そう断言してもいい状況と言えるでしょう。
そのことを話すために私を呼んだ。
Yeah, just to bash me in my
単に
class?
嫌がらせのためだけなら貴重な時間は潰しませんよ。私と手を組みませんか、一ノ瀬さん。あなたが私た
It's
ち
the only
を
way
A
you
クラ
can
スに
catch
追
up
い
with
つくた
Class
めの
A.
唯一の方法です。
私たちと組むメリットが坂柳さんにあるとは思えない。
Animation, drinking a drink?
確かに戦力として見れば物足りないのは事実ですが、どのクラスも持ち合わせていない強力な武器を持っています。それは信頼です。何があっても裏切らないと言い切
What
れ
they
る。
do.
これは仲間にする上でとても重要な要素です。私たちとの差を縮めることはできませんが、龍炎君のクラスを追い抜き D クラスに対して差を作ることができる。まずは安定した地位に戻ることが最優先ではありませんか。
坂柳さん、正直な感想を言ってもいいかな。
もちろんです。
坂柳さんは3クラスが共闘することを恐れているんじゃない？ 3クラスが組んで A クラスを追い詰める、このケースが成功してしまったら今後坂柳さんは苦戦を強いられることになる。
Yeah, it would.
間違ってるかな。
Nice work, Ichinose. Whoa, that was crazy. Let's go back to that animation.
間違ってるかな。
Overall, I think I really like the animation style and art style. There's just like a couple moments where I think they try to add a little too much to it. And there's some of them that I really like the pouring rain with Hosen. I don't really like it all that much. The waterfall with Nanase shooting up in the background when she was like live with no regrets, Ayano Koji senpai. Love it. The dramatic Ike falling to his knees. Funny scene. Funny scene. The birds going behind Sakiyanagi. A little weird because it wasn't like all that interesting other than just Sakiyanagi being like, holy shit, Ichinose has grown. Like, how has this growth come within Ichinose where she has this ability to bite back now? Like, she's just not an easy pushover. The doves.
どうやら私は少々一ノ瀬さんを甘く見ていたようですね。もし私と手を組んでいただけるなら3名分の退学救済費用を出しても構いません。 退学者を望まない一ノ瀬さんには非常に助かる提案かと。
ご名分出してもらえないかな。それなら私も安心できるんだけどな。
なかなか強欲ですね。直近で似たような金額が出ていく予定なのですが、別に融資いたしましょ
契約成立だね。龍雲君も
Nice.
堀北さんも手強い相手だよ。
う。1位を取るのは私たちです。そのために必要な努力を惜しむつもりはありませんよ。
So this is where it ends. Let's see if there's anything else here. Doesn't look like it. So I think first we'll break down that Ichinose Sakinagi scene. Is that what's really interesting there is that, right, we see this growth from Honami, that she's able to see through Sakinagi's biggest fear, which is basically this exam unifying the Class B, C, and D together to chase down Class A, because Class A is so far ahead that if they really, those three classes unified together and chased after Class A, that they could actually start to chase down Class A, but she wants to keep them divided and focusing on fighting each other. And Ichinose's thoughts here were the fact of they're in Class C, they're so close to going to Class D. If they drop to Class D, Ichinose kind of thinks their class is dead because the morale will be so low to drop from B to D. So that's why she takes this offer to try to go to first so that she can maybe jump back into B or stay at C. So it's a really interesting, you have to think on so many levels here, right? Because you're bouncing around from conversation to conversation. You got to keep everything stored. But overall, I'm really happy with the pacing of this episode. I thought they couldn't have handled the pacing of Volume 2 better, in my opinion. So I'm really happy with that. It's just still some of the like cut contents or kind of the stuff that I personally find interesting that you're like, dang, I really wish that was in there. But that's just a little nitpick thing that I had. But I think the overall like work is really, really amazing, and I'm really happy with it. It's just some of the like dramatics of it, like the Ike falling to his knees, like that's gonna be hilarious, but it's like over dramatized, right? Like doesn't happen, it's an anime only thing, but it's still hilarious. And the sunlight or the sunset, and then like this birds behind Sakinagi, you're kind of like but other than that, I really enjoyed the pacing. I think they're doing an amazing job. I'm really excited. I think next episode we're gonna have some really, really fun interactions, more Ichiko, and she has an amazing conversation, a deeper dive into the first years, which I'm really excited for everyone to learn more about them. And so I really think the next episode is going to be peak, as long as the ending too. So I'm really excited for next week, because next week's going to be the start of 10 straight episodes that are going to be amazing from that point on. It's really like these two episodes where it's like a little slow of the transition between volume 1 and 3 ish. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.